Presenting for Team Neocycle is Subhastika Thang Adure, who hails from Canada and is currently studying biological sciences at the University of Calgary. Welcome, Subhastika. You have been waiting so patiently. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good, really excited. It's been great listening to everyone's presentations, and I'm excited to be up next.
Good. Well, we're happy to have you. Good luck to you. The stage is yours.
We live in an era where technologies like cell phones, laptops, and automobiles have become a central part of our lives. Today, 84% of people around the world have smartphones. And with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have observed an increased global reliance on technology. As students, this became especially true with the adoption of online learning. What most people may not know, however, is that a group of metals called the rare earth elements have been fundamental for the development of these modern technologies. However, 95% of rare earths come from ore mining, a complex, expensive, and toxic process. And unfortunately, most countries cannot domestically secure these elements due to inadequate infrastructure and minimal reserves. This has led to rare earth supply market becoming volatile and monopolistic, making it increasingly difficult to obtain a stable supply of these precious elements. And given that the market for rare earths is growing exponentially, we need an affordable and accessible source of these rare earths to meet the needs of the future. Electronic waste is the fastest growing solid waste stream. Over 54 million tons of e-waste was produced globally in 2020. It is also a massively untapped source of rare earths, with only 1% of it being recycled currently. This results in an annual loss of precious metals and resources worth 47 billion USD. So, given the promising potential of e-waste, we ask the question, why has this resource gone unutilized? Through conversations with local e-waste recycling facilities and the Alberta Recycling Management Authority, we learned that current methods of rare earth recycling produce toxic and environmentally detrimental byproducts. The process is also expensive and technically challenging, making rare earth recovery unappealing. To address stakeholder needs, we present Neocycle, a novel biological system that utilizes proteins to selectively and efficiently recover rare earths from e-waste. The components of our system are organic and biodegradable, bypassing the need for traditional toxic methods. First, e-waste is solubilized through pre-existing processes. Then, landmodulin, a novel rare earth binding protein, will recover our desired metals. After these two simple steps, we obtain a highly pure sample of rare earths that can be reused in new technologies. E-waste recycling facilities are the ideal first customers for our technology. Given that they already have systems in place to process e-waste, our solution would integrate seamlessly into their workflow, allowing them to get extra value out of their waste. Based on current market value, our customers will be able to make upwards of 100,000 USD per year by implementing Neocycle. Our solution is carefully designed with SDG 12 in mind. By closing the loop on rare earth production, we aim to divert e-waste from landfills and back into use. Our environmentally sound and socially responsible solution strives to significantly reduce the adverse impacts of rare earth mining, as well as provide another avenue for e-waste recycling. In line with SDG 8, we also aim to achieve higher levels of economic productivity through diversification and innovation by ensuring Neocycle stimulates local economies. Our conversations with local e-waste recycling facilities revealed that one of their main priorities is increasing economic opportunities, which Neocycle will allow. Given the high raw material demand for the production of rare earths, our solution also closely relates to the SDG indicators on material footprint and domestic material consumption. Finally, in line with SDG 17, we partnered with local e-waste recyclers to design an industry-ready solution. We realized that closing the loop relies not only on new technologies, but also on a paradigm shift in resource management. So, we launched a public survey to understand e-waste handling on the consumer level. This will ultimately help us promote a circular way of thinking to repurpose end-of-life products as a new source of raw materials. And given the hyper-consumers' attitudes and the transnational nature of e-waste management, we connected with the Share, Reuse, Repair initiative to help us catalyze change at the grassroots level and ensure consumers are cognizant of prospective circular economy systems and their socio-political implications. Following our discussions with them, we decided to use our existing partnership with the U Calgary Sustainability Office to launch a targeted information campaign aimed at changing the language surrounding waste management and raising awareness about Canada's role in illicit waste export. Despite the fact that the ideas of a circular economy are supposedly common sense, the terminology around it is a hurdle to the culture shift needed for synergistic transformation. This campaign also seeks to raise awareness about the rampant NIMBYism in Canada, resulting in the absence of e-waste problem within our borders at the expense of those in the global south through illegal e-waste shipments. Having explored our holistic solution, we can see that Neocycle makes rare earth recovery from e-waste simple, cost-effective, and sustainable. Thus, Neocycle truly revolutionizes rare earth recycling by providing an easy-to-implement rare earth recovery system. Conventional methods of rare earth recovery are expensive and toxic, which is why they have not been implemented on a large scale. Neocycle is safer, faster, and more eco-friendly when compared to conventional methods. But what have we accomplished so far to bring Neocycle to life? Well, we have successfully produced a proof of concept of our technology with promising results. Our initial results show an 81% recovery rate, which is comparable to the 88% for conventional methods. This rate is also projected to increase to 95% as we further develop our product. We have also been able to establish strong relationships with a few local partners. Having partnered with the Alberta Recycling Management Authority, we'll be working closely with them to ensure our product meets government regulations. We have also presented our product to 2 local e-waste recyclers, where we were met with great enthusiasm. They agreed to support our product's development through data sharing, material donation, and continuous feedback on our product design. But where do we go from here? To bring our product to the market, we first plan to file a patent within the next 6 months to protect our technology. At the same time, we hope to finish developing our prototype by 2023. Then, we hope to launch a pilot with our local partners in 2024 to test our product in the market. After a successful pilot launch, our company plans to generate revenue by selling our system to our customers with a one-time installation fee along with a recurring refill cost. We estimate to generate an annual $80,000 revenue per recycling facility that we have partnered with. Based on this, we predict to break even in 3 years if we acquire a minimum of 3 customers. Our startup cost to successfully acquire IP and launch our pilot is roughly $50,000. We have already raised around $17,000 by winning and placing high in previous pitch competitions. Our multidisciplinary team has backgrounds in biology and engineering. Our vested interests in entrepreneurship, sustainability, and social innovation will allow us to develop a feasible approach to the rare earth crisis. We hope to utilize funding from the Wege Prize to acquire IP, develop our final product, and launch into the market by 2024. With the advent of new technologies, the need for a sustainable source of rare earth elements will only become clearer. In order to provide a circular approach to both rare earth scarcity and the increasing e-waste problem, Neocycle aims to establish a cost-effective and environmentally sound source of rare earths to support a clean and sustainable future. Thank you so much.
Great job, Sebastica. Congratulations, Team Neocycle. Great presentation. We're going to give our judges a few minutes so that they can discuss their questions and get ready for Q&A. So we're going to chat a little bit. Super interested to read your bio and read that you participate in competitive curling and, in fact, are the under 21 mixed doubles provincial champion. That's so cool. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been curling for about 12 years. Like I started when I was in grade 5 and I've just loved doing it my entire life. And yeah, this past year I had the opportunity to win my very first provincial title, which was super exciting. And all those years of hard work really paid off. And yeah, it's a fantastic sport and a great community. So I've been loving it.
That's great. Congratulations to you for that. And not just great community, but it's a great community sport as well. So thank you for doing that. Can you tell us more about your team? How did you come together and what gave you this fire for this really important issue?
Yeah, so our team actually started out of another competition called iGEM, and iGEM stands for Internationally Genetically Engineered Machine. So it's a synthetic biology competition, and this is really where we started researching our idea, going into the lab and performing experiments. But after the competition ended, we wanted to do more with our project. And so this is where the Wege Prize came into play and really allowed us to take our project to the next level. And we've been really excited with the progress that we've made throughout this competition.
That's incredible. Well, congratulations. So important, such an important issue right now as well. And neat that you guys discovered it together. What did you find were your challenges as you put together this strategy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I guess first off, like education surrounding rare earth elements isn't that strong yet. So a lot of people that we talk to don't even know how useful they are to us. And that's a huge issue when it comes to creating change around our project and actually pushing things forward. So a lot of our work has been involved in stakeholder education and launching campaigns in order to teach people about rare earth elements, as well as the e-waste recycling problem.
Well, thank you. Thank you for tackling this. Our judges are ready for you. So let's get started with the Q&A. Good luck.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Sebastian, got a wonderful presentation, and you're all through this. Your presentation has been so professional. You obviously have great graphic designers, and the content is great. My greatest concern, as I have lots of patents, is infringement. So it seemed like land modular is a great thing, but it's probably there's a lot of work going on with it. You're probably not the only ones. But I'd just like to hear how thoroughly have you so far investigated the potential of infringement with your wonderful process?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a relevant concern. Thank you for bringing that up. So you're right in that there are patents that are pending currently around the use of land modulant. And so one thing that we actually did early in our research process is, I guess, get in contact with the scientist who originally, I guess, discovered land modulant. And so that was an ongoing conversation to actually learn more about the protein itself. And so considering that the patent is pending, what we're working on right now is ensuring that our process, like the Neocycle process itself, is unique enough to be its own IP. And so currently the patents that are pending around it are more around the use of the protein itself. And so the work that we've been doing in collaboration with patent lawyers, as well as our own local innovation ecosystem, is really ensuring that our process is unique and that we have aspects that will really set us apart to obtain that IP.
But you may have to license something from somebody. It's still probably in your research, right? Because it may be okay, as long as you got both things going.
Yeah, no, definitely, for sure, which is why we started those conversations early with that professor, and we're hoping to continue that relationship forward.
Very good. Good.
Ms. Sabathiga, I'd like to congratulate your team. This is a massive global problem, and as your report said, over 90% of the world's supply is in one country, so they have a lot of leverage over the rest of the world as the Internet of Things continues to grow. So one of the things that struck me also was that you're targeting electric waste recyclers as your first potential customers. And I've toured a number of those, and I've not yet seen any that have had any kind of wet processing. And your system requires quite a bit of liquid processing. What has their reaction been to the need to invest in this new technology?
Yeah, so this is definitely an ongoing conversation. And we also had the privilege of touring 2 local e-waste recycling facilities here in Alberta. So we were able to go in and take a firsthand look at how the e-waste is grinded up and manually taken apart and all things like that. So they were definitely interested in our solution. And once we presented our project in front of a recycling board that has more e-waste recyclers, they were intrigued by the work that we were doing, and we hope to be able to use that collaboration to eventually bring our solution to them, but then also facilitate connections with their own downstream processors to kind of create a holistic pipeline where we can implement Neocycle between e-waste recyclers and downstream processors, where it would fit seamlessly into what already exists. So I understand that e-waste recycling facilities are able to break down their components into really, really small parts, and that would be ideal to feed into our system. And so that's really where that partnership and customer base comes into play.
To follow up on Bill's point, do you foresee implementing your solution as a kind of modular thing where you give them the wet process to adopt, or are you asking them to invest in the technology from scratch, in the sense of here's the idea, now you have to actually develop or not develop, but implement the technology yourself? Or are you implementing it with them? Like, where's the actual tech transfer happening? Are you investing in that as a company, or are you asking them to do it and you're just consulting? What's the kind of mix there? Because as Bill was alluding to, it's a totally different process than what they usually handle.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So the idea is that we would work very collaboratively in order to actually give them a ready to go recycling unit. So the actual work on their part would be very minimal. And so we would be there every step of the way to even help with training, to help with getting it started up, because I guess we have the connections with that strong molecular biology background to bring that to them. But that's not to say that they would need strong technical skills to actually operate Neocycle. The system itself is quite intuitive, and we've ensured that recyclers would be able to easily adopt it. And so, yeah, essentially we're going to give them a ready to use recycling unit and then be there every step of the way.
You will be a manufacturer then, a full-blown manufacturer of turnkey equipment that goes into these facilities, correct?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So one of our biggest manufacturing, I guess, costs or resources is the protein production itself. And so for that, we plan to reach out to companies that have already I guess have like the systems in place for protein production, and essentially outsource our protein from them, because for us to do it ourselves would be a much larger cost than for us to use a company that already does this every single day. And so the protein production would be very similar to, I guess, similar industry levels using other common proteins. So yeah, essentially outsourcing their protein will minimize our costs, and that would be where our manufacturing comes from.
So then you are creating the machinery, sourcing the protein, obviously consulting and managing and maintaining for the recyclers. And okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess our job would be to like assemble the unit together before it's sold out to our customers.
But it's uniquely your intellectual property machinery, I think.
Yes,
Correct.
so far we haven't come across anyone else who's done this.
Right.
Could you speak more about the prototyping, your plans to prototype and test this process, since it's such a new process?
Yeah, so far in the lab, if I mentioned during our presentation that we've been able to get to that 81% recovery rate, but based on literature review, it can go higher. So that's one of our current steps that we're looking to, is actually optimize that recovery rate. And in addition, our next, I guess, wet lab step is to experiment with the protein immobilized on our column system. And so ensure that the recovery is compatible that way. And that's basically where our prototyping is heading to. And once we have successful results in both those regions and optimized our recovery rate, we hope to launch into our pilot.
I guess I'm specifically asking about moving from out of the lab into production and into scale, and what your plans are for both the costs and the process of that transition.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Working on a bench, taking it to the industry is definitely a huge step. So that's kind of why we wanted to establish those 2 local recycling facilities and really maintain strong and good relationships with them, so that once we're able to show very concretely that we have these strong wet lab results, we hope to be able to start small and start slow, or start small, I guess, and bring it into those 2 local recycling facilities and really see how it works there, and then test it out and hopefully continue to scale up from there.
Lastly, one more question. What are the plans to move these materials once you've recovered them into production of the products that use them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So once our customers have implemented Neocycle, they've obtained this solution of rare earths. From there, the hard work has really been done. Like, they've taken e-waste, which is so incredibly complex, and already taken it down into this very pure form. And so all they have to do from there is continue down with downstream processing, which already exists. That's an existing partnership that they already have. And then they would just have to move it on downwards, which can then be used for electronic goods manufacturers or people who manufacture, I guess, smaller components of electronics. And so it all just feeds into the system that way.
Have you thought of maybe thinking about a case study on a product level that might help tell your story? So for instance, working with, say, a cell phone manufacturer or something to basically illustrate the whole loop where the material comes back into an actual product after being recovered through your system. Is that something that you think could help, or have you thought about?
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. It kind of feeds back into how, on a small scale, we started our own e-waste recycling facility campaigns, I guess, to encourage e-waste recycling. And that goes really hand in hand with partnering with companies who generate electronics and then introducing that type of idea into their company schema, whereby we're promoting e-waste recycling, we're increasing education, and all in all, that's just going to help close that loop and really bring everything together.
Great. Thank you, judges. Thank you so much. And great job, Swastika and Team Neocycle.